is time for St. Louis to thrive. Those were the words uttered by the first black woman elected mayor for the city of St. Louis last night. Tashara Jones ran on a platform focused on transparency, integrity, and service, and has promised the people of St. Louis that she will not stay silent when she spots injustice.
You know where this is going, right?
Mayor Tashara Jones is racking up a lot of frequent flyer miles. A new report in the St. Louis Business Journal tracked the mayor's travel logs and found she was out of town 34 days in 2021, then 41 days in 2022, 49 days in 2023, and through the month of November last year, it had racked up to 39 days.
Another mayor that is similar to Hinier, that she loves travel. So we have a mayor in St. Louis. So let's check out this real quick.
Mayor has been jet-setting throughout her term. Public records revealing the mayor took 64 trips in the last 3.5 years in office. This story broken by the St. Louis Business Journal, and reporter Jacob Kern is here joining us today to talk all about it. Jacob, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah, we'll bring our viewers right up to speed, get right into some of the facts here. Take a look at this. You requested the mayor's travel reports and her work calendar. Those records show she had taken these 64 trips since taking office back in April of 2021. In total, she was away from St. Louis for 163 days. You do the math. 64
trips. She's been away for 163 days. This is the mayor of St. Louis, Tashara Jones. Hopefully I got her name pronounced right. She is living her best life. Jet sitting all over the country, I think the world as well. 64 destinations in 3.5 years. That is 163 days out of town. They're gonna mention, I think it's about 12% of her term. Let that sink in. You've been hired for a job. You're like mayor, really important job. And you're just gonna peace out over a month every year, claiming it's all a part of the gig. St. Louis, maybe St. Louis is doing really, really great, right? Just all over the place. Actually, let's see what she's been traveling to.
You find out that's about 12% of her total time in office. Now let's look at some of the trips she went on. In 2021, a trip to Dallas, meeting with Southwest Airlines CEO. 2022 to Washington, D.C., the African American Mayors Association Conference. Also that year, going to Las Vegas to meet with the International Council of Shopping Centers.
Why all these mayors are going to Vegas? I'm just saying. Well, I know a lot of people go to conventions, but stay out of Vegas.
And then the next year in New York, the Urban League Summit. She also took trips to Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City. So, Jacob, in the last 3.5 years, to the general public, this might seem like a lot of travel.
Yeah, and I think that for people who have had experience in the mayor's office, it seemed like a lot of travel as well, because Lyda Crewson took a little more than 4 trips a year. Francis Slade, the top officials who were with him, they said it was even less. Freeman Bosley served in the 90s. He said he tried to leave St. Louis as infrequently as he could, because the office, it really depends on doing the operational work of the city. And there are a lot of departments that depend on the mayor. One thing to remember is that unlike in Kansas City or some of our peer towns, we don't have a city manager. So the mayor is the operational chief of the government.
So you guys can see that there. Traveling, even if St. Louis is not in a good spot, St. Louis have been battling some serious challenges on the ground food. Right? The city has a long struggled history with high crime rates, right? St. Louis is probably one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Now, I think some of the numbers have gone down, but at the same time, the city has tons of unresolved murders, and there's staff shortages, there's budget cuts on the police department. And also, they're not doing that great financially either. So why would someone think they can travel around the country and spend that much time away from their job as if St. Louis is just humming and doing fantastic and they're just killing it? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, she does explain why she was traveling that much.
So a pretty big difference from administration to administration. Now, Mayor Tashara Jones declined to do an interview with you, but she did take to social media defending the travel. Let's take a listen.
It's important to me that our city has a seat at the table on a national level when there are opportunities for things like federal funding. My leadership positions in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the African American Mayors Association, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, East-West Gateway, and the National League of Cities are instrumental in bringing resources to our city.
So she says a lot of these trips are really taken through the lens of opportunity. What did the mayor's office tell you about why the trips were important to make?
They gave us a lengthy list of information, 6 pages, that included $1 billion in federal money that had come to the city of St. Louis. And there were several pots of money, including different solar grants. There was a couple of grants to nonprofits that they had been involved in that did appear new for the city of St. Louis. The problem is that also they cited grants that other administrations have gotten the exact same grant.
Well.
So there was kind of a question of whether the money would be coming no matter the travel. They also cited the $500 million ARPA money that came to the city of St. Louis. The issue with that is that the formula that revealed how much St. Louis would get, it came under Mayor Cruson. It didn't come under Tashara Jones.
Well, then she's a liar.
So she just made it up. She wanted to travel. She just wanted to travel. I'm the mayor. I'm going to travel. Basically, what they tried to do to the news, or show to the news, like, hey, we poured $1 billion. And you notice that other administrations got the same amount of money. Also, this $500 grant came from the other mayor, the last one. While I believe some of these trips were funded by outside organizations, I don't think it's Tiffany Hayard stealing money. It's competence. Are you making the best decisions for the constituents of the city that you're the mayor of? Cool. Some of the funds were funded by outside organizations. It's not a switch around with money similar to Hayard. But if you are presiding over one of the most dangerous places in the country, should you be gone that often? That's a question that you can only answer yourself. But I would probably say, you know what, that's probably not a good idea.
Okay, interesting insight there. Also something interesting to note here. The mayor also did a bit of traveling when she was treasurer before she was even mayor, some of which we reported on. This is from a First Alert 4 Investigates piece back in 2017. Take a listen.
The streets of Paris, the White House, even the Vegas Strip.
This lady likes to go to Vegas, it seems like. I don't know.
Some of the many places city treasurer Tashara Jones has traveled in her first term. About 50 trips in total.
Come on, lady, what's happening? Like, you already been to these places already. Why do you keep going back?
I think you are doing too much.
All paid for in part or in full with public funds.
And again, this was during her time as treasurer. And Jacob, there's one key difference from those trips to the ones she's most recently taken. Those ones were paid for with public funds. Most of her trips now as mayor don't involve public funds. So who exactly is paying for these ones?
There was one that was paid with city funds that are allocated to the mayor's office, but her campaign paid for some of this. There was also personal funds. And so the mayor can actually take a $30,000 contingency fund as their own income. So a lot of that was used, but also outside groups paid for a lot of these trips. So there was an accelerator in Chicago. There was an abortion rights PAC in Washington, D.C. And so there were outside groups doing it as well.
Okay, so with those outside groups, does that raise any questions about whether those organizations could be getting any sort of special treatment?
Oh, I think they call that the Eric Adams special. Hey, can you build this building and forget all of the building codes and stuff like that? Because we're going to give you first-class accommodations to Turkey and really fancy hotel stays for like basically 1/10 of the value. So she's taking these trips, and again, all her money or being paid by others. But usually if you're getting paid by others, you can be controlled by others, right?
Well, I think it does. And, you know, there are rules for the city where they are supposed to put on forms who is paying for these trips. And they do that, but it isn't so easy to get them, okay? You have to go to the registrar's office. Then you have to file a sunshine request. Then you have to pay fees to get these records. So if somebody were just interested month by month in who is funding Tashara Jones's often multiple trips per month, you couldn't do it really in real time. It would take a news media that was going to follow through and be persistent. It's not easy.
Is that some of the digging you plan to continue doing?
Well, we've done it once. We could.
Okay.
All right. So I want to talk about a second part of this story where there's an older person that I guess had enough with Miss Jones and her travel.
The woman proposes a significant shift in the city's power in a plan that would strip the mayor of power in favor of a city administrator. Ward 6 Alderwoman Daniela Velazquez introduced a proposal yesterday to transfer various responsibilities from the mayor's office to a newly appointed city administrator. The bill would also prevent the mayor and board of aldermen from interfering with decisions under the city administrator's authority. The measure would require approval from at least 60% of voters at a citywide election. Velazquez said she hopes to convince the board to put the plan on the August 2026 ballot.
That's interesting in terms of trying to take a lot of this person's power. So I'm guessing no more crazy travel sprees while the city is left figuring out what the hell's going on, considering that she is basically the administrator at this point, the mayor, and the fact that the mayor has been gone for so often. So I guess this new city administration would handle the daily grind of managing St. Louis, letting the mayor to stick to what it's supposed to do, like, actual leadership. So this plan is actually pretty interesting and pretty bold. We'll see. I'm sure that Jones probably don't approve of this, but that's the problem with these mayors. You found a job. It's a mayor. It's public service. It's not you using the fact that you are in position of power to now travel like you're the president. You're not the president. You are the mayor of St. Louis is not big. With all the problems that's happening in St. Louis, I think that it makes sense for her to travel as often as she did over the last couple of years is, again, embarrassing. It's incompetent. It may not necessarily be corrupt. It could be if they dig deeper and find that she is doing things in favor of people paying for trips to fly across the world. That could be a potential issue. And we'll look into that to see if there's anything that we can find. But I don't know. Not everyone is meant to have much power, right? Not most people probably shouldn't have that much power. They don't know how to handle it.